Hi YouTube! Welcome back to my channel. It's me, Lucia. This week I figured I'd talk about why I stopped using dating sites and just like a little life update. Also, I figured I'd touch on the topic of loneliness and how I've been dealing with not so much loneliness but solitude and trying to cultivate a feeling of comfortability in myself because I struggle with BPD. I was diagnosed about 3 years ago, and I feel like I've been dealing with it my whole adult life, but I was actually diagnosed a few years ago, and since then I've been trying to understand myself more and why I am the way I am and why I acted a certain way in certain situations, and it's really helped me get that understanding. So why I stopped using dating sites pretty much, or why I'm choosing not to use them, is because I don't really like hookup culture. I'm not really a big fan of like having people accessible like that. It feels weird to me personally. I romanticize the 90s and the 80s where people didn't have cell phones, people didn't have social media, they didn't have this obsession with appearing a certain way online versus like developing themselves as an individual in real life. And I think that now we live in an age where people are more intrigued with developing themselves as an online character or an online figure, to the point where people are like VTubers, or like they don't even have like their own image tied to their character anymore. It's more so like, which is cool. I kind of like the idea of like anonymously just sharing your character and like your personality and like letting people judge you on that. But then also it's kind of like you're like in a way acting, but I don't know. Anyways, off topic. I am very into real life like interactions. I feel like with dating apps you kind of get into this trap of just like matching with people, and then you have this expectation of, well, they already like me, so I already know I'm in. Like, I really don't have to try that hard to impress this person. They swipe, so they must think I'm attractive. It's kind of just taking out all of like the important parts of meeting somebody and getting to know somebody. Like for me, I really pick up on body language, and I pick up on like certain things, like how they treat others. Are they somebody who holds the door open? Are they somebody who says please and thank you? Or are they somebody who, you know, makes eye contact? Things like that add up, and they add up in a significant way in our social interactions. So I feel like with dating apps, like it's almost forcing people to develop this way of interacting that just doesn't translate well to real life. And I feel like in a day where so many things are neutered, so many things are kind of watered down, I don't want my relationships to be watered down. I don't want my interactions with people to be watered down. That is the one thing that I still have that isn't $1 million to do. Is always just meet up with my friends, bullshit, talk about music, talk about art, talk about clothes, talk about makeup, have fun, and do wholesome things that don't require money. I just like doing those things, like organically meeting people. Like I love being out and about and like running into somebody and being like, oh my god, I love your shirt, I love that band, and then like having a whole interaction based on that. I'm starting to realize that I was so insecure and so like nervous all the time around people because I was worried about like how I looked, how I sounded, how I was acting, because I was thinking in that like internet brain. I was thinking of like my image, how people are like, nobody's really looking at you like that. Like, internet makes you think that all eyes are on you all the time. In reality, they're not, and that's a blessing. Like, that's something to be grateful for. I think about celebrities, how horrible it must be that no matter where you go, like, I myself have a very recognizable face. There's not really many people you can mistake me for. I hate like being recognized sometimes when I'm just trying to go out and like do errands, and like I look like crap because I just woke up or something. It's not fun. So like I can imagine if you're like somebody like Justin Bieber, it's probably terrible. Yeah, I've realized like I have been leaning more into being myself and like spending less time on the internet. So that's another reason why I'm not really big on dating sites or like meeting people through the internet so much anymore, because don't get me wrong, I've met a lot of great people online and I've started a lot of great relationships through the internet, but a lot of times too, I feel like it forces your opinion of people to become so skewed. I feel like with the way algorithms work, it's kind of like an echo chamber. So if you're always like interacting with certain people on the internet, like you're only gonna get that, and you're only gonna be looking at this small little part of the world's experiences, when there's so much beautiful people out there, so many beautiful things out there to experience. I don't want to be just confined to this little circle of people that my algorithm has determined is good for me, because in my own experience, I don't know what's good for me. Like, so indecisive, first off, but second off, like, I make the worst decisions because, like I said, BPD, very bad at decision making. I'm impulsive, I'm very reactive, I'm very emotional. So, like, I don't know, how is the algorithm gonna determine what's best for me when I don't even know what's best for me? I like the spontaneity of life. And I don't know, I feel like the universe works in mysterious ways, and like, whenever I'm disconnected from social media, whenever I'm disconnected from the internet, like, I feel like there's like this joy in life that returns, which is so ironic because I'm starting to post YouTube videos and like sharing my life this way, but I'm hoping that it allows me to cultivate more of these real world experiences and gives me the opportunity to meet more people and develop those relationships. Which is so ironic that I don't consider this a dating website. This is like a social media. I still use social media. I love social media. I'm just not big on dating websites. The like idea of like I'm supposed to like have people at my fingertips that I'm supposed to start these like very meaningful relationships with, it just seems very shallow. How am I supposed to form a deep, meaningful relationship in a shallow little pool? You know what I'm saying? I love metaphors, so I'm probably gonna use a lot of strange metaphors that like probably don't make much sense, but just roll with it for my sake. Like, humor me. Anyways, I don't know, dating websites are great and all for what they're worth if you're into like hooking up with people and have people at your disposal, kind of like fast food or takeout or something. I'm not really big on that anymore. Like, I'm more into like I said, deep, meaningful connections. And that brings me to my next topic, how I've been dealing with loneliness, or I would say it's more like solitude, cultivating solitude. I'm going through I went through a breakup recently. I was in a relationship with somebody for a couple of months, probably like 8 or almost a year, I would say. And it was very intense, short-lived relationship. That's how I got into this place that I'm at now. It taught me a lot about myself. I took a lot from it because I was really hurt by certain things that happened. It allowed me this moment of reflection of like, why did I even get into this relationship? Like, what was I expecting? Anyways, it's not so much what I was looking to get out of it, because that's not how I go into relationships. I don't go into relationships thinking like, oh, I'm gonna get something out of it. It's just, you go into a relationship because you want to spend time with that person and get to know them, and like, you end up falling for them, right? It felt genuine, it felt real, it felt authentic at first, but the longer time went on, less connected I felt to this person, because it felt like when the first couple dates we went on, it was kind of like speed running dating. It wasn't really developed as organically as a normal relationship does, and I feel like that pressure, like, oh, we already liked each other on this dating website, like, you liked me, so it's like, you already have this expectation of like, oh, it's supposed to go somewhere, And then when it does, it's like, okay, well, you kind of get the green light to go very fast. And it's almost like this toxic culture of like dating to meet the perfect somebody. If they don't line up with every one of your values, every one of your like boxes are checked off, left swipe on to the next. It's crazy. Like you can't think of people like that. I think that that's what makes people so lonely, is that they're speed running relationships. They're compulsively just swiping on people in a more metaphorical sense, in like terms of like their relationships. They're just swiping on their relationships. They're just like, oh, this relationship sucks, I'm not getting everything I want, and screw them. And I feel like my parents' generation, like their friends, they've had friends that they are friends with for 20-30 years, and I think it's because it's a slower burn. It's not all like we're best friends, we see each other every day on the internet, so we're supposed to know everything about each other and like, oh, I know a little here, I know a little there, oh, I find a little here, a little there. And it's like you develop like a slower relationship, but it's more meaningful. Like you get to process those moments with those people, you get to have more meaningful connections with those people because the time you spend with them is more significant. In my opinion, I just feel like when I was younger and I didn't have social media to rely on, it wasn't like I went places to just get a picture. It wasn't like I was going out. Miss Pumpkin! Sorry, Pumpkin has to scratch herself. But anyways, like I was saying, I feel like it was just a more steady burn. And I feel like now that I'm older and I can understand these things, like I feel like I'm a little bit more aware of how I approach relationships and what I bring to the table. And you know, I'm also aware of why people are the way they are a little bit more, so I can kind of understand when people act certain ways and stuff. I'm at a point now where I don't feel lonely when I'm alone. Like I enjoy my alone time. It gives me that time to really reflect and appreciate the time I do get with people, because I don't think you need to be around people all the time. And it sucks because I really craved that feeling of not being alone, because for the longest time I didn't like myself and I couldn't sit with myself and I couldn't just be in my own head, in my own body, in my own space without thinking about all the negative things that my mind was telling me. And I hope that maybe sharing my thoughts, my experiences with you guys will help you if you're going through something similar. But yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts on dating sites and why I don't really use them anymore, why I try to stay away from them, why I try to limit my social media intake too, as well as how I deal with loneliness and how I shifted my perspective from lonely to being comfortable, being in my solitude, being with my own peace of mind. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like always, like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to check back in next Sunday with a new video. I'm thinking next Sunday I'm gonna try and do a video reaction. So if you guys know any good videos, anything that you want to see me react to, yeah, just send them my way. I'll have my Instagram, all of my social media stuff down in the description. Give me a follow if you want to stay up to date with all of that. My tattooing Instagram will also be in the bio if you want to get tattooed by me. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you here next week for another new video. Bye!